You wanna hear of the bravest deed ever done on the land or the sea? I rather think I can tell you that, for it appears 'twas done by me. It was when I was lighthouse keeper, a year or two back, not more. The lighthouse was built on a rock, sir, half a mile pretty near from the shore. A storm for a month had been raging, no boat could approach as we knew, and the steamer what should have brought victuals was more than 9 weeks overdue. For days we'd been living on biscuits, they was all that there was left to eat. On Sundays we fried them in lamp oil, we did it by way of a treat, but that give out arter a bit, sir, so we has to partake of them raw. Still the lamp was the worst of the business, we couldn't light up any more. We'd only one small box of matches, and I took 'em above in the lamp, and held 'em afore the reflector, till my arm fairly ached with the cramp. They didn't make much of a flare, sir. Well, I hardly expected they would, but I had this here great consolation, as I done all as any man could. I soon finished up all the matches. There was nothing more left I could do, so I turns in me hammock, being sleepy, and was off in a minute or two. Soon I dreamt that I sat at a banquet, with some nobs in the West End Hotel. They was handing around liver and bacon, fried fish, tripe and onions as well. A waiter asked me if I'd have some, and I'd just stuck my fork in a lump, when I almost fell out of me hammock, for there comes a horrible bump. I knew what it was in a moment. I could tell pretty well by the force. It was one of them big ocean liners, what had got a bit out of her course. There were dozens more come after that, sir. They cannoned us all through the night. I tell you I wasn't half glad, sir, when I see it began to get light. I thought p'raps as some very likely might keep up the game all the day, so I hung out aboard with wet paint on, which I fancied might keep them away. Being woke up all night by them vessels was enough to make any one mad, and the language the crews used was horrid, and the skippers was 10 times as bad. So I calls me mate what was dozing, and tells him some oil must be got. There's a shop half a mile off, he answers. Shall you swim there, or fly there, or what? I shall fly there, I says, or I'll try to. Just hark while I tell you my plan. You must fasten me onto a rocket, and aim it as straight as you can. I must take one as well to come back with, for they mightn't perhaps have one on land. But them ships knocking bits off our lighthouse is a thing as I'm hanged if I'll stand. So he fastens me on very careful. I'd a can in me hand for the oil, and the wind was howling and screaming, and the water was all of a boil. Now remember, I says, afore starting, I'm a risking my life, I'll admit, but a Briton ne'er shrinks from his duty, and that lamp there tonight must be lit. Them words were scarce out of my mouth, sir, when I hears a loud kind of a whiz, and away through the air I was soaring, and a rummy sensation it is. My mate he had once been a gunner, and his aim was surprisingly true. I missed the shop door, I'll admit, sir, but bang through the window I flew. But the face of the man what was serving was a thing you ought to have seen, when I landed full length on the counter, and asked for some best paraffin. He took me at first for an angel, till he saw as I hadn't no wings, and noticed I am disappearing with a loaf and some pickles and things. To bring a long tale to the end, sir, I returned the same way as I come. 'Twas a coastguard had touched off the rocket, and I can't say a lot for his aim. But my mate who was up in the tower sees me coming and held out his net. I'd have missed by a yard if he hadn't, and might have got terribly wet. And talking of wet, sir, reminds me as I'm dry enough now through and through. What's that you says? Will I join you? Well, thank'ee, don't mind if I do. Good health, sir, it's lucky I met you, for there's men here by dozens as tries to get gents to stand 'em a drink, sir, by telling 'em horrible lies.